To customize your machine for you, go into Settings right here. This has 3 different tabs. Let's start here. The buzzer sound is that little beep that you hear. You can make it louder or softer or turn it off completely if you want to. Screen brightness is nice to have. If you're in a brightly sunlit room, you may want to have that a little brighter. If on the other hand you're sewing at night, you may want to have it a little bit darker. Then you can choose between inches or metric system. You can choose your bobbin winding speed. By default, it's up to the highest. But if you have a heat-sensitive thread that you're winding onto your bobbin, such as monofilament thread, you may want to have it a little bit less because the friction will cause it to heat up. Well, let's leave that up at the top. Sewing lights. Now this is nice. You can change which lights are on or off. This is useful in case you have a crease pressed into your fabric and you want to use that as a guide for sewing. You can turn off a couple of your lights and it makes it much easier to see that crease. So you can also adjust your sewing light brightness in general, like this, and make it softer for evening sewing or leave it up bright for daylight sewing. Date and time setting. Now on your home page, you can have your time displayed right up here at the top. To set it, this is the page you would use. There's a battery compartment right here so that you can use the clock on your touchscreen. Just make sure and remove that tab. If you do need to replace this battery, just use your screwdriver right here to take the cover off. Battery's right there. And you can have it on or off. I have it off right now, but you can have it on. This message will tell you when to clean your bobbin area, which is a good reminder. Every 10 hours it has, but you can turn that off if you want to. Touch screen calibration. Now this is really nice if you are feeling like your touch screen is not quite working right. Say you're trying to touch one thing and you have to move a little bit to the side in order to get that to work. This is how touch screen calibration works. Make sure you touch with your stylus right in the center of each of these little crosses. And then it gives you end, and after a couple seconds, it returns to this screen. Needle plate lifter time setting. In the lockout key, you have a button that lifts up your needle plate. Now this gives you however many seconds, in this case 4 seconds, to get that needle plate out of there before it goes back down. You can make it less if you want, or more. Standby timer. Now this is nice if you are away from your machine for a while but you plan on coming back. It will turn off your lights after, in this case, 11 minutes. It'll turn these lights off and this will go to a screensaver. Now you can make it more or less as you choose, or even turn it off. Now the screensaver are pictures that you can put on your machine or that are on default. It changes pictures every few seconds. You can import screensavers, like if you have a favorite picture of your dog or cat or kids, you can put that on there, and you can delete that picture if you want to right here. The auto off setting turns off the entire machine after a certain amount of time. So you can have it 7 hours, you can have it up to 12 hours, or you could turn it off completely. I like to have it on for a while because if I stop sewing and go over to my ironing board for a while, then I don't want my machine to turn off. However, if I get up to go answer the phone or something like that and I forget to come back until the next day, my machine will turn itself off after a certain amount of time. It will actually physically turn off your on-off switch for you. To turn your machine back on, simply turn on your switch. Background color. Now right now, we've got sort of a white background color, but you can change it to a lovely lavender or a vibrant yellow or any of these others. Format, that just means it erases all the things in the memory that you have. You can do that either in the machine or on a USB stick. And then reset all your settings to default. You can push that and it will do that for you. This next tab is your sewing settings. This is thread cut after auto lock. That means if you do a locking stitch, it will automatically cut the thread for you without you having to push this button. If you don't want that, you can turn it off. The needle stop position, it'll stop down when you're done sewing, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if we go to needle stop position with the needle stopping up, this is what it looks like. Stops with the needle up. So you can choose that in settings. Auto tension. That's instead of having a dial at the top that regulates your thread tension. You can make it tighter or looser right here. Presser foot pressure, again, this is so you don't have a dial on the side, but if I made this really tight, now this might be good for certain kinds of fabrics. I'm going to put it all the way up to the top, push OK, and notice how when I lift it up, it's pretty firm, the presser foot pressure. And I'm going to put it all the way down to the lowest. Say OK, and it's relatively easy to lift. But most of the time, I want to have it at default. Now the sound it's making is the machine doing what it does to change the presser foot pressure. Upper thread breakage sensor, this will tell you if your thread has broken or if you've run out of thread. And you can have it on or off as you choose. Bobbin thread remaining sensor, there's a little sensor underneath that tells you when you are running out of bobbin thread. You can have that off or on as you choose. Feed dogs, this will raise and lower your feed dogs. Right now they're up, but you can lower your feed dogs by pushing this button here, and that puts them down. Push it again, right here. And the feed dogs come up, but you need to take one stitch. And there they are. Now the assist in inserting and removing fabric means that when you're done sewing and your presser foot raises, your feed dogs will automatically go down. This is nice for if you have fuzzy fabric that you're putting under your presser foot and you don't want it to catch on your feed dogs. Foot height for pivoting. If you have the pivot function on, your needle will stay down in your fabric and your foot will raise up. You can make it raise up higher or lower depending on the thickness of your fabric, and this is especially good for thick batting. Adjustable startup speed. Now I really like this because what this means is when you first start sewing, it'll slowly get faster until it goes to the maximum speed that you want it to go. When I'm using the start stop button, I like to have it a little bit slower because you need to push that stop button again to make it stop. However, with the foot control, I can simply push a little bit less. So I like to have it as fast as it can go when I first start up. Variable zigzag sensitivity. This is where you use your knee lifter. Variable zigzag looks like this. It can be useful for thread painting like this. And adjusting the sensitivity is simply making it less or more sensitive to when you push on the knee lifter. ASR sensitivity. Now what is the ASR? The AccuStitch regulator. You can adjust the sensitivity right here. Overspeed warning with the ASR. The overspeed warning will give you a little beep if you're moving your fabric too quickly. Confirm to delete pattern combination. If you have a pattern combination and you accidentally push something that would cause your whole pattern combination to be deleted, it will give you a warning. I like to keep that on. Favorite stitch adjustment. Now I like to leave this on because it really doesn't affect the functionality of the machine, so I just leave it on all the time. So favorite stitch, say for instance I have a zigzag that I want to have normally be wider and longer. And that's how I want to have my zigzag. But I don't want to have to adjust it every time I go into zigzag. So I can go to favorite stitch, memorize it right here. Notice there are two different favorite stitches that we can use. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so that means now if I get into a different stitch and get back here, this is now favorite stitch. Notice it has brackets around it. That means I've saved it as a favorite stitch. But let's say we want to have another zigzag that's much shorter and much narrower. I want to save that also as a favorite stitch. I can do that right here. So we now have two different favorite stitches. So the last one that I chose is the one that will show up. If I get into regular sewing, get back into here, that's the last one that I chose. If I want to have the other zigzag, I can get back into here. This little guy here pulls out the two different favorite stitches. This is the wider one. There you go. So if you want to delete your favorite stitches, go into here and the little delete button. Choose which one you want to delete. I want to delete that one right now. I'll get back into it like that. And you see it saves that one, but it got rid of that other smaller one. Pull it out, see it's gone. That's how favorite stitch works. Now you can turn that off if you want to, but I like to leave it on. And you can delete all of your favorite stitches and put it back to default if you want to. Resume mode, I like to have that when I'm doing some quilting and I've got my machine all set up for 1/4 inch piecing, but I can't finish today, I gotta work on it tomorrow. I like to have that on because that way when I turn on my machine, it will give me a window saying resume, you have a question mark, I can push the OK and get right back into my 1/4 inch piecing. But most of the time I have it off. And here is your preferred language. When you're all done, make sure you push OK because that will save all of your settings that you just changed. We have several other videos on this machine. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a like. And if you have comments, questions, or ideas for other videos you'd like to see, let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Bye.